Sports Network, bringing you live coverage, commentary, and interviews. Everything Heritage Sports.
Can I kick it? Can I?
Welcome to Kicking It with Snipes and Hayden. If you're just now tuning in, you should go follow us on Twitter at War Eagle TV, and you can click the link that we have that we post, and you can catch all our sports talks.
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about all the crazy trades that have been happening, a little bit about NBA playoffs.
All right, I want to start off with the Rams-Browns trade. I know the Rams and Browns. At the time when we wrote this up, the Rams and Browns were considered the top two looking for quarterbacks. Of course, the Browns have traded away their number 2 pick to the Eagles now. But I'm going to briefly talk about this. I think with all the trades that have been going on so far, it's similar to the 1998 draft, which I told you it was like the Peyton Manning, Ryan Leaf, who is going to go first? Is it going to be Carson Wentz or is it going to be Jared Goff? And which one's going to be the bust?
I think that Goff goes first, but I think that he ends up being bust. I don't think, he has great size and everything, but I just don't think he'll end up working out. I think that since he's coming from like a smaller kind of college, that he doesn't have as much experience.
Right.
Yeah.
With some more tougher teams.
Yeah.
All right, so I want to briefly go back into that 1998 draft. Of course, the Colts had the first pick. The Chargers had the third pick, actually. And, of course, they wanted to trade up to number 2 to get the quarterback. The Chargers traded up to the second pick. They traded with the Arizona Cardinals. And the Chargers at the time, when they traded up to the second, they thought it was a win-win situation, of course. Ryan Leaf and Peyton Manning, 2 amazing athletes, they thought. Who can go wrong? 2 franchise quarterbacks. This is quite the trade that the Chargers made to move up. The Chargers moved from number 3. Keep in mind, it's not like they were at the bottom of the list. They moved from pick 3 to pick 2 for the 1998. They traded their first-round pick, so the Cardinals only fell back 1 pick. Then they traded them 2 second-round picks that year, the first for next year, and 2 players.
They must have really wanted a quarterback.
They paid quite the price. I want to talk about the Rams, of course, trading up to number 1. Back in 2012, as you know, the Rams traded away their number 2 overall pick to the Washington Redskins. And, of course, the Washington Redskins picked up RG3 with that pick. And you see where RG3 is now. He's actually at the Browns, which is, quite a coincidence, honestly, how this is all working out now.
Yeah.
But the Rams traded. I think the Rams made out really good. They straight up scammed the Redskins for their picks. It was, the Rams made out really good, drafting players like Alec Ogletree, Maurice Claiborne, and Scandrick and Stedman Bailey, players like that.
Yeah, I think the Rams definitely got lucky because I know coming into the league, everyone thought that RG3 was going to be the next big thing and he was going to change how the sport was played because he was a good mobile quarterback. But, he had a decent first 2 years.
Injuries hurt him.
Injuries, and then now he's to the Browns, and in my opinion, Cleveland's where quarterbacks go to die.
And Jalen Ramsey actually sent a tweet out that if the Browns drafted him, he would retire. Did you hear about that tweet? Yeah, Jalen Ramsey sent out a tweet and said, "Y'all draft me, I'm retiring." So that's not the only place quarterbacks or positions go to die. So, all right, let's talk about what the Rams traded to the Washington Redskins. I think this trade is, one of the biggest ones. I think it's bigger than the 1998 one, honestly. Of course, Washington got the 2nd overall pick, and the Washington Redskins were at 6th. They had the 6th overall pick. So the Rams fell back 4 spots. Now, this is what they got in 2012. They got the 6th overall pick. They got a 2nd and a 3rd that year. In 2013, they got a first, and then in 2014, they got a second.
Yeah. All that just to get RG3.
Mm-hmm. And because the Redskins, they didn't perform and their record was not as good as they wanted it to be, that ended up being even better for the Rams because they got to move up even higher. So, Rams made out pretty good. They highway scammed the Washington Redskins, to be honest. So, all right, now let's talk about. I want to talk about the Tennessee Titans and the LA Rams. I always want to say St. Louis, and I said St. Louis earlier, but LA Rams. Which trade do you think was better, or which trade do you think was worse for the Rams? Of course, or which trade do you think was better or worse in general? So the Tennessee trade, Tennessee gets the number 15 spots, so they go from first to 15, so they fall back 14 spots. They get 2 second-rounders, a third-rounder from LA, and then in 2017 they get a first and a third. And the Rams get the first and then a fourth out of Tennessee. So comparing the Washington-St. Louis trade to the LA-Tennessee trade, which one paid the higher price? Who paid the higher price?
I definitely think that Tennessee
got the better end of the deal.
Tennessee definitely got way better end of the deal.
Yeah.
They're taking their first round, their second, their third. That's this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's their first.
That's what they get this year.
That means they're going 2 rounds without a draft.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got their first round and third round next year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think LA got ripped off on that one.
See, and I feel like the Washington got ripped off even more just because they got one pick. You know, they only got one pick. You know, the second overall. I mean, granted, Tennessee falls back from 1st to 14th, which is not too attractive, but they can work with that because Tennessee's kind of loaded on picks now to where if they wanted to, they can trade up a little bit because I know, you know, they may be looking for an offensive tackle to help shear up that offensive line, which is what I was going. I thought they would take an offensive tackle before they traded back. And I still think they will take an offensive tackle regardless if they sit at 15 or if they move up. Or if they fall back, they could fall back and get some more picks.
Yeah.
I always think that's not a bad move, honestly. Moving on, let's talk about the NBA playoffs real quick. Hayden's going to give us a quick, brief standings on how everyone's doing.
So right now, Miami and Charlotte. Miami leads the series 2-0. Cleveland and Detroit. Cleveland's winning that 2-0. Next is Portland and Los Angeles. Yeah, the Clippers.
Mm-hmm.
Clippers are winning that 2-0. Next one is OKC and Dallas, which I think right now is probably one of the best series that's going on, and that's tied 1-1. Then Toronto and Indiana, right?
Yeah.
Pacers and Indiana.
Yeah.
They are tied up 1-1. And then Golden State, of course, is winning 2-0 against Houston.
Without Steph Curry, too. Proving they can win without Steph.
And then Atlanta and Boston. Atlanta's leading 2-0, which I think is kind of a surprise. But oh well.
And San Antonio's up 2-0 against the Grizzlies.
Yeah. Who do you have winning it this year?
I mean, honestly, you kind of want to go with the team that just broke the Bulls' record with the Golden State Warriors, honestly. Mm-hmm. And with Curry being as hot as he is, you know, you don't really want to go against them. I'd like to see the Spurs win it, honestly, but right now it's looking like Golden State's going to win it.
Yeah, I mean, I like Oklahoma City, but it's just Golden State looks unstoppable.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily like Golden State, but
I don't hate them, but
I know when to give them props and say, yeah, you're good.
I'm actually liking the OKC and Dallas Mavericks. Of course, the Mavericks got blown out game 1, and they beat OKC this previous game by 1 point, and it's getting pretty heated, honestly. There's a lot of tension between OKC and Dallas, honestly. And I think it's turned out to be a really good series so far, even though it's only tied 1-1. It's been pretty good so far.
Yeah. I think there's some teams on here I'm just surprised to be in it, like Charlotte, Toronto, I mean, they're not bad, but I didn't.
You wouldn't
I
expect
didn't
it.
think, yeah, I don't remember the last time Charlotte was in the playoffs. It might have just been a year or two ago, though.
Oh, how the league has changed.
Yeah.
So now we're going to move on, of course, to the Browns-Eagles trade. This happened just yesterday? I believe it was yesterday.
Yesterday or the day before.
All right, so this happened just yesterday. And here's the trade. So, of course, the Browns are sitting at number 2. Everyone's saying that, well, the Browns are going to get another quarterback. Browns are going to get another quarterback. That's going to, it's not going to work out. They're going to draft the wrong one no matter what. So I think the Browns, I think it's a good move by the Browns, honestly. Now, did they get, I didn't think they got too good of a deal compared to what L.A. did, like what the Titans got out of L.A. and what the Rams got back in 2012 with the Redskins. So far, I think the Browns have gotten the worst trade. The Browns traded away their second overall pick and a fourth of the 2016 NFL Draft to the Eagles for the 8th overall pick. So the Browns only fall back to the 8th pick. They were sitting at number 2, and so they fall to 8th. So that's not bad. They pick up around 3, and they pick up around 4. And then in 2017, they get around 1. In 2018, they get around 2. So I feel like the Eagles were pretty smart in thinking that we don't want to just load them up 1 year, and they'd spread out their picks. Also with that, the Eagles, that way they know that 1 year they're not going to just have a horrible draft class. I think that was a good move on the Eagles' part, though, but I'm impressed with the Browns trading back. I think it was a good move because they have RG3. I don't really know. At the time, sitting at number 2, I don't really know what they would have been going for, honestly. I don't see them going for a quarterback at number 2. I just didn't. But I don't know what else they could use, honestly. I know they could use some defensive help. I believe they could use like a new inside linebacker with Carlos Dansby getting old, and they could use a new inside linebacker and probably defensive line. Honestly, they could use a lot on defense, to be honest. Their offensive line's actually looking pretty good, though. I like their offensive line. The Browns got a good offensive line.
I thought maybe when they had Manziel, maybe he would do something for him, but he's just a mess now.
He dropped his agent, too.
He's getting a lot of attention for him, but it's not wanted attention.
Yeah, it's not very good. So we're 7 days out from the draft, 1 week away from the draft. 7 days, 8 hours, 51 minutes, to be exact, away from the draft. So there you go. Let's look up a new mock draft now that with the Eagles moving up to number 2, which just kind of shook up everything because now you have no idea what's going on now. This year has been pretty awesome for trades because I'm all about the trades and seeing all these trades going on. Although they're just trading draft picks, but it's still pretty sweet to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So LA, of course, is number 1. Experts are still saying they're going to take Jared Goff, the more experienced guy at Cal, to lead the team and become the new franchise quarterback. Still a little bit confused what's going on over there in LA with Case Keenum and Nick Foles there. I thought Nick Foles would be named the starter, but apparently him and Jeff Fisher aren't getting along too well. So Case Keenum is the starter and is still going to be the starter for the LA Rams. And number 2, the Eagles, they could be just like the Chargers were back in 1998 with the Manning Ryan Leaf, to where they thought they'd get a win-win. I don't know. Only time will tell. Only maybe this time, maybe the second pick will be the better pick.
Yeah.
We don't know. So more than likely, the Eagles are going to take a quarterback with Carson Wentz or Jared Goff, depending who's on the board. They have Sam Bradford and Chase Daniels right now. Sam Bradford, I liked him when he first came in the league. Played at Oklahoma. I thought he was a really good quarterback. Won the Heisman. I was really looking forward to him in the league, and I don't know. He's not produced like everyone's thought he was going to, or at least I thought he was going to. So now let's move on to number 3. Pick number 3. I always mess up this guy's name. I don't know if I say it right or not. Laramie? Laramie Tunsil. Laramie. Okay. Tunsil. Well, I'll just say Tunsil. The offensive tackle. At the time when the Titans were sitting at number 1, I thought the Titans would easily take him first pick because, he's a pretty good offensive lineman, and RG3 could use some help. Or not RG3, excuse me. Losing it. Mariota. Marcus Mariota could use some help. But now with San Diego sitting at number 3, San Diego, I think, will probably pounce on that, honestly. Because they could use an offensive tackle. They have some older offensive linemen. They have, what's his name? Not Clady.
Smith?
No. He's an offensive tackle. I can't think right now. He's an older offensive tackle, and they could use some younger guys on their team. Cowboys sitting at number 4. It'll be about that time Jalen Ramsey will go.
Yeah.
5, Bosa. Does that sound right?
Yeah. I think Jacksonville always gets someone who's always been good. Once you go to Jacksonville, you kind of forget about him.
Well, Bosa came into the draft at first, or came into the combine actually, saying that he wanted to go first overall. And this whole thing has just been shaken up to where Tunsil even said he was going to go first, and now quarterbacks are going to go first. So I don't know. Only time will tell. We got, like I said, 7 days, 50 minutes till the draft. So we'll just have to wait and see, because I know I'm excited and you're excited.
And I think we're going to cut it there. A lot of stuff's been happening with the draft, and maybe next time when we come back, we'll actually know how the draft's going. Till next time, have fun, be safe, and this is Kicking It with Snipes and Hayden.